vai. Selu, this is how you do it. You really get down, you know? I've been told by families to sell our house. Just imagine the money you make. Oh, that's rubbish to me. We don't care if you offered us $1 billion. That's nothing to us. I refuse to sell the hard work of my parents who immigrated from Samoa. Who needs the gym when you can just do this? There is a nickname known for Ponsonby now, and it's called Pond Snobby. Oh, we're not rich. It's those who are moving into Ponsonby, but no, we're not rich. Flowers are everything, right? They represent our tropical island. We're rich in heart, rich in family, rich in culture. That's more than enough for us.
Wait. Wait, it's stuck.
Oh, shit. Oh, it's quite dark in here, eh?
My family have been living here in Ponsonby for 49 years now. My grandparents migrated from Samoa, like a lot of other families, to create a better future for their families, and they eventually settled in Ponsonby.
And voila, our pictures.
Oh my gosh, there's so many people in here that I still recognize.
That's Nana, that's your grandma. See how pretty she is. Look at her short hairdo there.
I can't believe it used to be mustard though.
Yeah, it was mustard, then it was green. It's a pantry of memories, the past. This is where the mechanics were. Mum just came and put the pounds down on this foundation, and this became our home. 'Tis the reason why our house is not a villa, but I'm actually glad that it's not the same as everyone else.
Growing up in Ponsonby for my sister and I, we were kind of growing up in that transitional period where it was becoming the affluent suburb that it is now. So we were kind of in that grey area of it still being the same, but also like things were changing around us.
It was the heart of Polynesia. If only I could rewind the past. If you could only see it through my eyes. All my neighbours were Polynesians. No disrespect to anyone here. It was like Spot the White. It was just a happy atmosphere. Neighbours coming out, saying hi to each other. The laughter. And if one family had more food than the other, we would go and share with our neighbours. Because that is the Polynesian way. That's changed. That doesn't happen anymore. Neighbours here tend to keep to themselves now. When it hit the 2000, I think that's when everything started going down. I'm sorry, darling, you're a millennium baby, but, you know, Mummy still loves you.
I think at a younger age, we weren't as aware how amazing it was to have like a family home and like still remain in Ponsonby. But I think as we've grown up, we've come to appreciate it a bit more just because we understand like the sacrifice that went behind like having a family home and just like having a place to call our home. Hi, can I please get a chicken teriyaki?
Have you?
Yes, have here, please.
Whawhita Yesu for imai mea ai tosia I mātou ni whānau. Amen.
I've like always loved coming to the Ponsonby Food Court ever since I was a kid because it is such a staple like in our neighbourhood. A lot of Pacifica families will come through to the Ponsonby Food Court. It's like one of the more cheaper places that you'll find in Ponsonby. There's a lot of memories here coming like after church or like even after school as well. I only really saw other people that look like me once I actually went to school because like there's obviously like a really large Māori and Pacifica population at AGS, and then yeah, my church community as well because it is a Pacifica church. Yeah, those were like our only connections. I wouldn't say that there is like a lot that I would do in Ponsonby. So I'm like always going to the city, like going beyond Ponsonby to do things. This is kind of like a lot of my childhood right here. A lot of it's kind of gone right now, which is, yeah, quite sad. So many memories here of us coming to Burger King before we went to the cinemas to sneak in food because like cinema food was like not really cheap. So this is the next best thing and it's, you're not allowed to, but it's fine, it's whatever. I've just recently finished studying at AUT, so I did a Bachelor of Communication Studies, majoring in screen production. So I've always had a massive love for like film, and now that I'm finished, there still is that like passion to kind of get into it, and like also just like working with a lot of like my mates who are like majority Māori and Pasifika as well, being able to like create storylines as well that we wish we could have seen when we were like growing up. 2019 was like the first year of my uni journey, and that was when my mum was diagnosed with endometrial cancer. Anyone that's met my mum knows that she's a fighter. She's got such a strong like spirit. Yeah, that's just kind of like what I do as like her daughter as well, and like just continuing to support her and just be the strength that she needs during her journey when she can't find it in herself sometimes.
You know how it's now Ponsonby Central?
Yeah.
This used to be a whole factory.
This whole thing?
Yeah, used to be just factories along all here.
So there's not a part of K Road that you can walk to that doesn't have construction?
Yeah. On Thursdays used to be late night in K Road, and all the Polynesians used to go there because that was the only place that they sold the taros and green bananas, Pacific food. It was buzzing back then. But now for us in Ponsonby or Grey Lynn, we have to go out to South Side, West Side, to Avondale, because that's where the majority now of Polynesians live. If we go to Countdown or anything like that, they don't sell green bananas or taros. When I look around now, it's absolutely ugly. It was beautiful when I was growing up. It's beautiful, colourful.
It's different. It's not.
Yeah.
It's still vibrant, just in a different way. I think you're just from a different generation.
Yeah, I am from a different generation.
No matter how much the Ponsonby area does change, I'll still always consider it home. I don't think that's a fact that will ever change regardless of how much it turns into something that I don't really recognise anymore. I think for a lot of my generation that still live in the area and like why it's so important just to like still remain in the area, I think it's just like all about like maintaining like your roots. I mean, if you're like born in the area and you were just like raised in here, it's kind of like, why would you want to leave?
A lot of Pacific families started leaving. It was getting too expensive to live in Auckland Central. There was also that racism. Nobody likes to talk about it, but it is still there. They could see back then that my people couldn't afford it, and they would lift their costs even more. It just pushed my people out more.
Real estate agents and investors would like prey on like a lot of Māori and Pasifika families and like kind of bribe them with big money and the false promise of like a better life if they just say yes. Eventually forcing those families out and then like turning the area that they used to live into very like expensive and affluent communities.
One by one, I would see them sell. It just broke my heart. There was that prejudice. You don't want to say, oh, we don't have that in New Zealand, but I'm sorry, we still do. We still do. Lea mio atua uma lava, lea mio matango fie.
Mum's doing her local at home right now, so I'm going to go just get her coffee from up the road, but usually she'll be going to like the 11 o'clock service, but just because Mum is quite vulnerable, my sister and I aren't really comfortable with her going to church services right now.
We know that it's hard for Mum because that's her happy place, and it's not only good for her emotional health but like her mental health as well. But I think the way that her health is, and because she is a lot more vulnerable, those are just like necessary sacrifices that we have to make just so that we know that she's being protected.
Thank you, dear.
That's right.
Ia ia te o laungotu ia aonga. And here's our beautiful church. I do miss going inside, but due to my immune system, I have to protect myself. My girls, they look after me well, but that's the thing, it's like at times the roles have reversed and they've become the mother and I've become the child. We gotta do what's right.
PIC Newton as a church has always been quite an integral part of my life, not only because like my grandparents went there and like a lot of my family are still there. A lot of like important moments of my life have been rooted at that church.
Usually, a lot of the times when you come here from the islands, like the first thing that you do is like find a church, because it's like the perspective is like finding a spiritual home.
This was where Reverend Chalice and Reverend Siol helped a lot of our people when they first immigrated from the islands. Not only was he like our Reverend, he was also playing an immigration officer, job seeker, and things like that. And that's how we learned our culture at the same time. But unfortunately now the numbers have dwindled. A lot of our elders, our parents who helped start that church have all passed away. Some of their children or grandchildren still go to that church, but a lot have gone.
My relationship to the church has changed quite a lot over the years. As I've gotten older and then life happens, you just get exposed to so many different things. Sometimes you don't always have time to be as committed and faithful as you once used to be. I mean, I've discussed it a lot with Mum, and I think I'm just at a point and also at an age where I'm like just trying to expand, I guess, like my perspective and like also just come to terms with like certain things in my own time.
Silly, your hands are so slow, so slow. Even though we live in Ponsonby, the values I teach my kids are still Samoan. The beauty about being Samoan is you have that culture. That's your identity, and it makes you who you are.
Fat Samoa is a lot more than just like speaking the language, which is great, but I think the way we view it is that it's a lot of like guiding principles just for like how we carry ourselves. And I think it was something that I needed, especially with like the suburb that I was growing in, where there weren't a lot of young brown girls that looked like me, or there weren't a lot of like brown families anymore. There's kind of like that underlying like thought, is there a possibility that we might be branching out as well, and how long will it take for there to be like just us left? Our grandparents' dream was to always like make this a generational home. It'll become our house and then hopefully our children's house and so on and so on. So it's kind of like they were they kind of had the foresight for it. Like they knew that like they wanted this to become a family home and just to kind of have a place that was ours.
I'm one of the original people of the street, and that's where I intend to stay forever and ever until God decides to call me home. Right, Zelo? Can I have an amen?